Walking these streets, shadows fall.
Can we just sit down?
Lost in a world, echoes call. Searching for life, voices true.
All right, I'll go ahead and start. Well, welcome to St. James at 75 years. Today, we have Janice and Tom Jervis with us to talk about their experiences at 75 years. Or we haven't been here 75 years, but the time you have been here at St. James. So I'll start off with the first question I always ask is, what roles have you guys played here at St. James?
All those that I'm currently doing.
Yeah, what are those?
Well, I've been an elder since 06 or so. Got married in 05, so it was after we got married. I've helped with VBS. I'm an exec director currently, and helping out with properties since no one's leading that right now.
And then I've been involved in evangelism, public relations. I have to look and see.
You're the secretary?
The congregational secretary for PPC, Altar Guild, youth activities. I'm teaching Sunday school for the preschool class.
And you're with the little kids on our Wednesday night program?
Yes.
And helping with the cooking and organizing that. And how many hours do you put into the like nativity walk and stuff and VBS?
Most years on VBS, it's probably 10 or 15 hours. But the nativity walk, excluding the first year, is somewhere between 30 and 60 hours.
Wow. And you kind of fix everything around here too.
Yeah.
And sound team and everything else. So
yes.
The reason this stuff is working is because of Tom. So
how it usually works out is something isn't going well, and then I just get involved.
Right. Yeah. And I know you're always here, always doing work around here.
Yeah.
And,
there's always something to be done. So just jump in and do it.
You're the person we ask all the questions of because you know all the answers that we don't know, and so we appreciate that. So tell me, when did you come here and why did you join St. James?
Well, somewhere around 2001, a member, Dan Mager, invited me. So he was my coworker here at the local glass plant, and he just basically said, as what I found out here is you're just going to be here. There was no option. He said we sat in the first pew and be there at a certain time, and I was, and I just continue coming week after week. If I remember right, they always went to late service. I eventually switched over to early service, which has varied a lot over the years of how we do that. So even the time period has changed. So right now it's 8:30, but at one time it was 7:45.
Yeah, that was good. I remember when I got here, it was 8:15 or something like that, or 8 o'clock.
Yeah, probably 8 o'clock.
Boy, 7:45. That's
it's only 15 minutes.
I know. And that wouldn't bother me. I just know a lot of people are like, well, that's really early. Now, has both the services always been traditional and contemporary, or?
They've always, well, except a little bit there through COVID, they've always been slightly different.
Okay.
They're probably more different than they've ever been since 2001. When I first started coming here, they did 2 weeks of one and 2 weeks of the other, so neither service was divine service or blended. It rotated. And I really didn't understand that for the first several years. Didn't notice really a difference between the two. They were that close together.
Oh, okay.
Which now, if you come here, early service is, I would say, significantly different from the blended service later in the day.
Yeah, it's very traditional, and the second one is just blended. So how did you get here? And
So Tom and I worked together at
Oh,
the
yeah.
glass factory.
Oh,
Yeah.
that I never knew.
Oh yeah,
really?
yeah. So
Oh.
we worked together for several years, and we're friends for several years before we ever started dating or anything.
Oh,
so
okay.
so when he started coming here, I probably came, I don't know, a year later, 6 months later, something like that.
Okay.
I came at Christmas time and never left.
Oh, okay. So now what was your background before?
I was raised Methodist.
Methodist. Oh, okay. Were you Methodist as well, or?
I was baptized Methodist.
Oh, okay.
About, I don't know, probably early teens when you can stay home by yourself.
Right.
I became a big headache for my mom.
Oh, okay.
And so she just said, fine, you stay in bed.
Oh, okay.
So I have a big gap.
Okay.
Probably close to a decade.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what are some people at St. James that have had a big impact on you through the years?
For me, probably Joe Chambers. So I was put in his sheep pen when I became a member. And you could kind of tell over time that he was mentoring me. Made sure I was involved in things. And then when they were looking for another elder, then he officially became my mentor. So there was time in which when you would be starting as a elder, that there'd be someone to make sure that things are going well.
Oh, okay. So how long have you been an elder?
I'm guessing it was probably 06. So we're, wow.
Oh, okay. That's
So
18 years.
18 years or so.
Anybody else that comes to mind?
Paul Lang was always, he's just kind of always there with a positive remark.
Oh.
Not that, he did anything physically, but I would say spiritually, it always seemed like he was probably prayed for me and just always knew what was going on. And
Sure.
I think that was probably a blessing to me.
Sure.
And then, of course, Mark Carlson,
Yeah.
as he didn't really say, why don't you go check that out? He would just say, you're going to do that. So that's how I got involved in so many things.
Oh, okay.
So I was basically just say, you're going to be there Saturday or you're going to be there Monday morning, whatever the time was, you're just going to be there. Okay, I'll be there.
Phil Roselle was good at that too. Just Phil Roselle,
yeah,
he was good at saying, "Why don't you show up at this time and get involved in this?"
And I'm sure that's probably another one.
Yeah.
As well. He was DCE here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What about you?
For me, Joe and Margot Chambers, both when we were in their sheep pen. Margot was somebody that I really looked up to. She and just them together as a couple, they just had a wonderful marriage that I thought, boy, I strive to have that same kind of marriage that they had. Kathy Mathias got me involved in VBS, so I still work with Kathy all the time, so I love working with her. Elda Ivy got me involved in Altar Guild. Oh. She decided that she wanted to step away from it, and she said, I think you'd be good at that. You need to jump in. So, okay, I'll try that. And then Jo Ellen Stoner's another one who, she used to be the congregational secretary for years and years. Okay. And when she got ready and decided that it was time for her to step away from that position, she approached me and she said, I don't want to leave until I know I've got somebody to replace me. So that's how I became the congregational secretary. Was Jo Ellen tapped me on the shoulder and said, it's your turn.
And that appears how most of the positions got filled in the past. So if you want to step down, you had to find your replacement.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Now, you guys also led the confirmation program.
We did in between pastors. Yeah. So when we didn't have a called pastor here, yes, we stepped in.
But you still do, in a sense, that the confirmation has weekends and they
the retreats,
at your house, and you're very involved in that and teaching that.
like being around those kids,
Yeah.
from the little guys up to the teenagers. They're fun to be around. You get to learn a lot about them and their families, and
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a joy having the kids over.
Yeah. So, what are some events or stories that stand out about your time here at St. James?
The changes.
Oh,
And some might seem minor, but they always seem to hang around, and there's always a story there. So we used to, a big one was we actually used a hymnal for
oh,
both services. You got out your hymnal and you followed along. So yes, as much as we say one was kind of blended, we still used the hymnal, so it wasn't that much different, which led to the projector being put in. Well, if you're going to have a projector, then you need a screen. Well, if you're going to put a screen up there, there's a cross there. So then you end up with the stories about, why did we move the cross up? I can't see the cross. It's still there. It's just up about 8 feet higher. So yes, changes. TV in the back.
Right. Which we appreciate. I appreciate. I can see.
Sound system being up in the balcony, and you could hear the children of the parents running it. I won't say yelling, but making a lot of noise and distraction. A lot of equipment that didn't work very well or wasn't supposed to be all tied together, which led to projector blacking out all the time. Sound system, nobody really knew how to operate it, so we'd have a lot of squealing in the mics constantly. Yeah, we've had a lot of, I would say, positive improvements in our worship service over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, technology is a big deal with that. Yeah.
I'm thinking more of events. Our Easter breakfast, that's always well attended. Everybody looks forward to that, and the Thanksgiving dinner before service at Thanksgiving time. Everybody loves that event. For me, VBS is a big event, and Trunk or Treat is a big event. The Lutherans for Life group used to do a pie auction, ice cream social and pie auction every year. Those were fun. Sometimes you were just saying, again, you bid $20 for that pie. Okay. It was a good time.
Yep.
We just have different good times now.
Yeah. Well, any other stories or changes that you've seen that were significant?
I guess you might say, turning of the guard. As one generation now is, well, for several, they're with Jesus.
Yeah.
And as much as I felt like, as, I won't say a youth, but someone very young in the congregation, it's my responsibility now to lead the congregation.
Right.
And that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge change from kind of following along to making sure that everybody stays involved.
Yeah, it is huge. So how has St. James impacted your faith life?
Oh my goodness. Before coming to St. James, I was not attending church regularly at all, or any kind of Bible study or anything. So once I started attending here with Tom, it's night and day. We got involved in the Bible studies and, worshiping. And I guess I didn't realize early on about a real relationship with Christ. And now it's just a world of difference for me. And then the relationships with all the people here at St. James. It's a good church family.
Yes.
Been told that if you don't know something, teach it.
Oh, yeah, that's
You'll
true.
learn more by teaching than actually going through training sessions.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you talked about helping with confirmation, because I was not involved in church in those years, I didn't go through junior confirmation.
Sure.
Obviously, I went through Carlson called it VIP, but that was 8 weeks, not years of studying or anything like that.
Right.
So as I had a basic understanding of the Bible, basically from Bill Cups. Bill Cups was a Sunday school teacher here for many years, and I had started, I won't say the first week, but we were in Genesis something, and he went all the way through the history, those books that cover the history, and that's where I got the most in-depth of really kind of the layout of the Bible was right there, and of course adding the New Testament stuff to that.
Sure. Wow. Bible study seems to be a really big deal around here. I mean, and it just seems like everybody's into the Word either on Sunday or in some other time during the week, and it seems to be a big thing. So, anything else on that? So, what are some goals you have for St. James? What are some things you'd like to see happen in the future?
Growth.
Growth.
As in a congregation that's large enough to support the ministries that we do here. So I don't know that there's any set number of households or anything like that, but as a congregation dwindles in numbers, it's hard to support all the ministries that we currently are doing. And we're always looking at, are we doing the right ministry work here? Maybe things that's been a blessing here, God may not need us to do anymore, and there's something else that's needs to be up and coming. And I don't know what that is, but I always felt that every block in town needs a church. And not just for the Word of God, but just for the community to come together. And as believers, if we're not coming together, then chances are we're probably, can be led astray easily if we're not together. Right. So having that place to come together, and even if it's only for a few hours a week.
I just want to make sure that we just continue. I think we do a good job of the congregation ministering to each other, and I just hope we never lose that. Then that we're not missing anybody. I know that's important to so many people, especially maybe some of our older single people now. They need those relationships, and we need to continue to reach out to everybody and all the community outreach that we're able to do. So I hope we are able to continue to do that in the future.
Yeah, I think you hit on that. It was like that we have the people to do the ministries, because there are a lot of ministries that happen around here, and maybe at times revaluing those ministries are the ones we still continue to do, or they're new ones, and I think that's always a hard question to answer, and people get attached to certain things that this is what we do, and
especially like a place here that's had a preschool daycare that has closed. It was, right for the time, but then there was a time in which it wasn't needed. Right. Now you have public schools that want to handle all that. Yeah. And so if you want to do it as a ministry, then you have to do it, basically support it 100%, because the community is already offering one for free. Right. So that makes it difficult. So, and I think there's other opportunities, and it's basically just praying about it and seeing where God leads us. And so far, I think He's done a wonderful job leading us.
Yeah, you definitely see some God things happening here when people just unexpectedly walk through the door that you need.
Yeah,
in a particular
absolutely,
position. It's like, Oh, okay, thank you, God. So what do we need to ask for now? Yeah. So,
It's nice to see those new people walk through the door.
yeah. That's been good. Well, are there some questions I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or some things you wanted to add to that? To what you said, or?
At 75 years, obviously this isn't our first location.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So what does the next 75 years look like? Only God knows.
Yeah.
So we'll take care of what God has provided us here as long, but I don't know if it's always going to look the way it looks.
Right. Yeah, and some people are threatened by that, and some people are invigorated by that. That idea of a little change. Yeah, it's always got to change, but we're not really. People aren't good with change, and Missouri St. Lutherans are really horrible at change.
But we get over it.
Oh, we do. And this congregation seems to be open to that. They seem to at least be open to the conversation about it.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, thanks for joining us, and
Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you next week or so with the more 75th anniversary. Peace out.
Walking these streets, shadows fall, lost in a world, echoes call, searching for light, voices true, St. James Church in the heart of the blue. Glorify God, nurture all, share the gospel, hear the call. That is what we do at St. James, breaking chains, singing new names, pushing through the night, feeling small, seeking the answers stall, windows of gray stained with hue,